Hello and welcome back to the RTB bet. We're back again, hopefully this week with some winners for you. With the whole team's here this week. Mixer, Adam, John, how are you doing?
Good, very good. Looking forward to the
thank you.
weekend.
Yeah, exactly. But again, we had a great weekend of Premier League football after a shocking week of internationals, as we spoke about last week. Exciting, sometimes a bit too exciting. The 90th minute equalisers, we won't go into too much of them. And obviously some VAR stuff, which we're going to go over later. Liverpool fans, you'll probably want to turn off now, actually. Everton fans, you might want to listen on. Yeah, and we're going to talk about our Champions League picks. Again, we're not going to go too deep into that because we've got an RTB 200 coming out, which, again, we'll mention later on. And we're going to talk about last night, obviously, the return of Gareth Bale, something that we're all quite into on this RTB, as you probably know by now. We're going to talk about, is he ready to come back? Should he be given a bit more time? He didn't look too sharp last night, did he?
So he looks slow, doesn't he? Not that I don't think he's going to get faster, but he looks really not. He's definitely not the Gareth Bale that we remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He hasn't played for 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, but we're going to get into that later. So first of all, we're going to kick off with the Liverpool situation. So obviously, a massive injury this week. That could open up the league. Like Van Dijk getting injured after being called marginally offside. Pickford's also been given no ban or no fine.
Retrospective action, right?
Yeah, so it's an interesting topic. And obviously, the goal at the end, Mane, we'll get onto your guys' views. I'm going to just put mine out there. How that was given offside, I do not know. But yeah, so it's an interesting week of VAR. Where do you guys stand on the whole Pickford and Van Dijk thing? Obviously, linesmen have been told not to put their flags up. That one was a bit tight anyway, wasn't it? So it was hard for him to call there and then. But then it was a horrible challenge from Pickford. Where do you guys stand on that?
Oh, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, it was dangerous. Definitely dangerous. He kind of lunged out at him, which wasn't cool. I don't think it definitely was unsafe. The thing I would say is there's a precedent. I don't know. This is, I guess, where it gets a little bit grey, which is, if it happens after the offside decision, then normally the referees kind of just let it go. So if you see like a yellow card challenge, right, or if somebody was, let's say for example somebody was going down through in on goal and they hacked him down like Luke Shaw did to Lucas the other week. If that happened just after an offside decision, normally the referee would have said, well, it happened after the offside decision, so it's not valid. This one was for dangerous play. Yeah. So, unless they're going to retrospectively ban him for dangerous play, then I guess that's the question. Was it dangerous play?
I think that ship has sailed, though, because we're nearly a week removed from it. And I think if there was going to be any retrospective action, it would have been almost taken immediately.
No, they've come out and said that they're not going to. They've looked at it and they're not doing anything about it. So they have actually already come out and said that.
But based on a loophole, though, right? Based on the loophole that the match officials had seen it. So taking that into account, if the match officials had seen it and they deemed that it wasn't dangerous play, then there's not really much to. The only thing you can really argue is, was the match official right or wrong to say that was dangerous play or not?
I just can't see how, looking at it retrospectively, you can't see that that's not dangerous play. That's the worrying thing for me. I know if the official doesn't think so, blah blah blah, but you've got to look at that and say that is dangerous play. It's dangerous play because it's taken him out for 7 months.
Yeah, exactly. The fact of the matter is, he has directly broken that guy's ACL. So basically means he was out of control, which basically means that it was dangerous play. So absolute madness that they haven't actually looked and turned that around. But I would also say that Liverpool's, let's say, behaviour in the week afterwards, I've got to say it was, let's say, privileged. Would you say it was not really? Let's say it's something where other clubs wouldn't have probably gone to the same levels.
Yeah,
I think there are some that might have, but again, they will be in a similar bracket in terms of their stature.
I was going to say, it might just be on for what you guys were saying. Do you think that this is being spoken about more because it's Liverpool, or do you reckon if this was, let's say, West Brom, It would
Yeah.
have been spoken about for an hour on Talk Sport, and then you don't hear about it for the rest of the week.
There
Because
was
it's
a
Liverpool.
yeah,
and
there was
because
a
it's Van Dijk.
there was a tweet that I saw in the week that I thought summed it up. They said if that was Kasper Schmeichel that done that to Dale Stevens, no one would even be talking about it, and it's so
Yeah.
true, you know,
But it
because
is like
It is, but you have to also remember this is Liverpool, who are undoubtedly the best team in the league.
Yeah.
And then you've
Yeah.
got Van Dijk, who is basically, I would say, 40% of that team. You take him out, then the back four probably won't operate as well as that. So it's a top player of a top team, and I think that's probably why we're talking about it all the time.
I mean, I think also like you have to think about like the long-term impact this has, because I don't think like an ACL injury, and I know people who are obviously not professional athletes, but like we all kind of know a few people through football and whatnot that have had that injury, and the long-term impact of it. And it's like, does Van Dijk even come back as the same player?
that's the worry, isn't it?
It's the fear, isn't it?
Yeah. And that would be, and that's, and you're right, it's that mentality of like whether you quite get over that. And it's, I mean, I don't know whether he exasperated it by walking off on it as well, and I don't know if that's kind of damage was done, and then that's kind of additionally sort of worsened it.
I don't know if I don't know if that'll be too much of a big deal of the injury, but I think you're right. I think even compared to maybe 5 or 10 years ago, this injury at that level, they've come on leaps and bounds. I think I mean, wasn't Ings didn't Ings have knee problems?
Yeah, both knees, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think Jay Rodriguez was similar.
Yeah.
He had that.
I mean, Ings came back. He came back stronger. You could argue. I think he's played the best
time though.
career.
I think this idea that Ings just suddenly became like he got off the treatment table and he was suddenly like what we've seen over the last 12 months. I don't think that's quite the case.
Yeah,
It took time to get back to that level.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
A similar thing for Jay Rodriguez as well, when he had like that. And his one was just a freak accident, wasn't it? He just landed awkwardly, and it was just. And he's never really got back to that level.
Sané from Manchester. J Rod never got back to the level. Sané never really got back to the level either. If you look at the knee that he had, although remember Ibrahimovic's horrible knee injury, and he came back at the age of 37, 38.
I think
he's still banging them in.
Yeah, the thing that worries me with Van Dijk is obviously everyone knows he's world class, but the people we've talked about like Jay Rodriguez, Danny Ings, they came back, but they had to sort of change their game. So like Ings and Rodriguez used to be sprinting in behind on the shoulder of defenders. Now they're a lot more coming to feet. They can't be that explosive player anymore. And Van Dijk sort of uses that explosive power to his advantage at the back. And if he hasn't got that, he's still got obviously great attributes. He's great in the air. He's a great footballer, but that could be detrimental to.
Yeah, he's one of those ones. He was able to read the game very well. But he had a good bit of pace, but he's also really, really powerful. It's true. That's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see him come back. It's blown the title race wide open now.
Yeah, I was going to say, at the end of the season, when they do the, every club has to vote for their PFA Player of the Year. If Fernandinho doesn't vote for Pickford, I'll be very shocked. Him and Pep Guardiola both voting for Pickford right now, because that, as you say, the title race is blown open now just because of that one player.
Well, it seems like a gentleman's title race. Everyone's holding the door open for it. It's like nobody seems to want. I mean, I know we're like 5 games in, but you do get that feeling that no one really seems to want any part of it at the moment.
Do you know what it is? There's only one top-class centre-back in the league. There was only one top-class centre-back in the league that was consistently fit. The other one was Laporte. And now,
I thought he was going to say Eric Dyer then. I was going to go.
And honestly, central defenders. I mean, we used to have so many in the division. If you look back 10 years ago, like now I've got to say, I can't think of anyone that's really that standout. They're either really good players on the way down. I can only think of maybe Toby Alderweireld, but he's on the way down. He's pretty average as a centre back. And then I can't think of any others that are out there that are.
But not to sound like an old fogey here, but it's not a defender's game anymore, is it? It's just Saka's game now. You can see that by the amount of goals being scored,
Which is another reason it could be wide open, because there's a lot of teams that have really found a way to kind of Spurs are probably a decent example in that sense. Like they found a way to start like scoring goals
and conceding them.
Yeah.
Keeping them out's another matter, but
Just to go back on topic though, can anyone explain that offside to me? That Mane
Oh,
offside? Because
I can't.
I didn't really get it either. Actually, if I think about it, I was happy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wanted the draw. I wanted the draw because I think those two are really two good teams, and I wanted them both to lose points. But I don't know where did that line come from. That line seemed to go up towards an invisible red shirt, right? Is that
the only one that I can really compare it to is it reminds me of last season when Tottenham were playing Sheffield United, and you had basically like the guy's toenail was was what made him offside.
At least then I could see the toe. At least then I could see the toe. Zoomed into the toe. With this decision, I was thinking, where did that even go? Where? Okay, yeah, I was happy about it. But I felt like Everton probably deserved something from the game. They should have been 3-1 up at one point. So I think they deserved the draw in the end. But
then, do you deserve something from the game if you don't take your chances? Because
No.
I mean, like I've always argued that. I think it's like at the end of the day, creating chances is one thing, but you win games because you bury those chances. So if you can't take them chances, do you actually deserve to win the game?
Yeah.
Sometimes you do, yeah. So it depends on the circumstances, right?
I could understand that. Had say for example Everton had basically battered them for the entire game, not taking their chances, and then Liverpool won with their only shot on target. I could understand that, but I think the game was a bit more open than that. I think Liverpool. Perhaps, they could have been. You're right. They could have been 3-1 down. But I definitely think Liverpool deserve something out of that game for me.
One man that got very lucky in that
a draw. We agreed.
One man that got very lucky out of that last goal was Pickford, because I'm going to throw over to Mixer here, obviously our resident Pickford lover, Mixer.
He was man of the match, by the way.
Proper phyllo pastry hands there in the last game. The last kick of the match. I'm not going to lie. How he didn't stop that.
I watched the start of the game, and then I sort of went and did something during the middle of it. And I saw the first bit where he tackled Van Dijk, and I was straight on the phone to you lot saying, "Look, this is England's number one, making changes like this."
Erratic
and
again,
then,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I kept getting texts from Adam saying, "Oh, what a save from Pickford." I turned it on, and then he sort of fell apart again. So he was just performed, but I don't get it.
It was a genuine advert for the good, the bad, and the Pickford. Like it really was just like.
I just don't see how
glimpses of brilliance and then just sort of moments of madness. It just sort of encapsulates where he's at.
But the problem for me is, absolutely. I understand if a keeper is making those great saves, but he's not cutting down on the amount of mistakes he's making. I'm not. Everyone's going to watch him now. So if he does another thing like that, or comes out and rushes a player like Van Dijk, he is going to get sent off.
He's in trouble now.
He's in big trouble now.
There's going to be a bunch of Liverpool fans out to get him every single match now, and there will be people on social media. There'll be whenever he makes a mistake, it's going to be absolutely horrific for him. I think I predicted this a couple of years ago. Yeah, I predicted this a couple of years ago. I remember the last World Cup we were in. I predicted that he was going to peak. He'll do the typical England goalkeeper thing, right? He'll go in, he'll play well
in that World Cup.
But that was my prediction, though, right? That was my prediction. He'd come in, he'd play well, and then the pressure would get to him because it doesn't feel like he's got the type of mentality to cope with what you need to have that sort of long-term success. He doesn't seem level-headed at all. He seems to react to people's comments to him. I remember there was a comment that he reacted to when Courtois made a comment about how small he was, and he reacted to it. Those were the telltale signs. I think this will be a really tough season for him. But then that shows you the signs of a top player. If he can react to it in the right way. He reacted by saying, "Well, no, but my strength and my power is enough." And he react on the pitch. Don't rise to the bait. This will be a terrible season for him if he has a few more mistakes. I agree. I think this will be the end of him. He won't. His England spot is really now in trouble, I think. However,
I think we say all of this, but he's bound to have a worldy Sunday because he's playing Southampton. So,
also, I was just about to say, however, one thing you have to say for him is his distribution is brilliant. His distribution is the best.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
Yeah,
Pope can't compete on that level.
His shot and distribution are really, really good. It's the concentration in his hand and his general sort of like coming out and claiming that I have an issue with.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
even
100%.
sometimes with his distribution, he's a bit erratic. Don't get me wrong, he's as you say, technically he can kick a ball and stuff. But sometimes they're like 2-1 up in games, and he's rushing to try and get
And
them
the
on
thing
the
is,
counter.
sometimes you just want your keeper to catch
Yeah.
the ball, fall on the floor, give it
Yeah.
a second, calm things down.
Exactly.
But no, he's
exactly.
always wanting to get the ball because that's the only thing he can do.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. None of the goalkeepers that England have are capable of doing any of that, right? So you're looking at Pope. I mean, because you saw what his ball skills were like when they played Leicester, right? I mean, it was a horrendous goal he gave away.
Yeah.
I don't even know who else is on the card. You've got
Obviously,
the guy who plays for Sheffield
Henderson's
United.
played. Yeah.
Is he good with his feet? I mean, he can't even get into the Man United team at the moment, and De Gea is not playing that well.
Yeah, that's the worry.
It's definitely between Pope and Pickford, so...
Yeah,
I'd go with Pickford still.
I wouldn't, but I'm sure you all know that anyway.
But to throw to a more sort of optimistic point in the game, that Calvert-Lewin header, that was a proper centre-forward header, wasn't it?
What a header.
Oh, yeah.
And it sort of shows one of Liverpool's maybe weaknesses without Van Dijk is crosses in the box. You know, some teams might be looking at that and thinking, you know, they got Sheffield United this week and Ollie McBurney's good in the air.
I think even
I'm trying to sway your pick there,
but about that, the way he jumped in the air and headed that ball.
Yeah.
I don't think many defenders are getting that off him.
He done very similar against Spurs, didn't he? He just gets up very early and seems to hang there. It was a great goal. Great goal.
The amount of games that Liverpool squeaked over the line last year, even though they played very well, they squeaked over the line by the odd goal here and there. There were a lot. There were an awful lot.
Yeah.
And
Palace comes to mind, Villa.
Sheffield United.
Yeah.
If you were to bombard them, and if you were to, exactly that with that howling.
Even Spurs at the White Hart Lane. If they tripped that one over the line.
If you were to bombard them, just take a handful of those games. Take a handful of those games, bombard them with those wins turn into draws. And then if you think about it, they can't then also, they become vulnerable. You can get at that back line all of a sudden, right? You can't play that high pressing game that they play. Because you need to have imposing centre backs.
Yeah.
There's been talk of Fabinho dropping into centre half as well.
Which you can do.
He played well there the other night.
He can do, yeah.
Then you lose I mean, didn't he play centre back against Aston Villa? They conceded 7 that day.
Possibly.
I don't think so.
Good shout.
Yeah, it's one of them things where I think it's more of a mental thing. I think the Liverpool players know that they're missing one of their best, and the opposition know that they're missing one of their best. So it could be a mental side more than actually on the pitch, if you know what I mean.
He's their best. That's the thing. He's their best player, hands down their best player. And then you got Mane probably just after that, and Salah. But any team going to lose their leader? Who's their captain? Henderson.
Yeah, world class Henderson.
World class.
Yeah, let's see how it pans out. I think they're going to have a similar issue to what Manchester City had without Laporte and company. To be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the sort of mental side to the game, isn't it? So where do you guys see sort of? I know it's far too early, but obviously we're talking about the title race being blown open. Who do you see? And as John says, everyone's sort of opening up the door for each other. Do you see Man City stepping in there? Do you see Chelsea, United? Where's your sort of thoughts on that one?
Over time, I think it's going to have to be Man City for me. I do think that they're going to, I think you get Aguero backfiring. They can keep a settled back four this year. I think over the course of 38 games, there won't be a better team.
When you look at the squad, you have to look at Chelsea. You look at the squad.
Yeah.
You say, okay, that Chelsea team, when that Chelsea team gels together. So I say if that Chelsea team gels together, then you can't look past them, especially with the way that the season's been going. I think we're going to see a very similar season to what happened with Leicester, where everyone's holding the door open, and then all of a sudden somebody in that pack of 6 or maybe 8 will put a run together, be quite consistent. It'll either be like when Leicester did it or when Chelsea did it, and then whoever makes that run, let's say by February, March, it'll already be decided, because it doesn't seem like most teams can get their acts together. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'll go with Butchers at the odds on Saints to win the league then.
I tend to agree with Adam there, to be honest.
Yeah, it is consistency. That's the sort of aim of the game at the moment, isn't it? And no one's had
No
it at
one's
the
got it at the
moment.
moment, except where?
Nah,
Villa and
apart from
Everton.
Villa. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think City have hit their stride yet, and I think when they do, they're going to be very hard to stop.
Yeah, possibly. Right, so we'll go on to the bet. I'm first this week, I believe. So I'm going to go for a game that I don't think many would have predicted I was going to go for. It's Brighton West Brom on the Monday night game. I'll quickly run through the fixtures, actually. So we have got, obviously tonight, we've got Aston Villa against Leeds, so that'll be Friday night. Then tomorrow, Saturday 12:30, we've got West Ham against Man City, and then Fulham against Palace, Manchester United against Chelsea, a big game, Liverpool against Sheffield United, Southampton Everton
Corners Saints
is then on Sunday, Wolves against Newcastle, Arsenal against Leicester, and then on to the Monday night, you've got Brighton against West Brom, which is the game I'm just going to go on to, and Burnley against Tottenham is 8 o'clock as well that night. So yeah, I'm going Brighton West Brom, and I'm going to go for someone that I think snuck under the radar a bit this season. That's Neil Maupay. He's had 5 appearances this season and scored 4 goals.
It's a good shout.
And obviously West Brom, I think, are leaking goals at the moment. Obviously they had a 0-0 against Burnley, but before that they'd sort of been leaking goals. I think Maupay is the penalty taker as well, so that's always a good shout with VAR around. So yeah, I'm going for Neil Maupay this week.
It's a good shout. I like it.
Yeah,
good one.
Yeah, not bad.
And who's second pick this week?
It is
Is it me?
Adam.
It is
Yeah.
me. I'm going to go for an Everton player because I actually watched the pay-per-view game last week with John, and it was
Soft-centered Saints by any chance?
Oh my goodness me! It was like watching players on stilts. The centre backs, as a Bednarak, that first goal on stilts, which makes me. I'm just trying to go on.
Sorry. He did not have his finest hour.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking Richarlison would do to him, or I think I'm going to go with Calvert-Lewin instead, because
I was about to say, you do know Richarlison's injured, right?
Oh, really? No, I didn't know that.
Richarlison and James Rodriguez are out allegedly.
Oh, that might change my thing. I'm still going to go with Calvert-Lewin. I still see you guys quite leaky at the back because I thought this team can play football. This team's very, very good. Calvert-Lewin's in great form as well, so I think this is just one of those ones where he'll get a goal. I don't know what the result will be, but I fancy Calvert-Lewin to get a goal against that back line.
Can't argue your logic.
Sorry, John.
Sound enough to me.
Mm.
Well, it happens.
So what's up next, Sean?
Right, yeah, so we'll be back to the bet after. We're just going to go on to our Champions League. Obviously, that's come back this week. A competition that I think we all love, even if we're not in it. You can actually watch it. You can watch it more without any pressure, so it's quite nice.
Enjoy the quality rather than
stress.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So we've had a few, obviously, shock results. We had Shakhtar Donetsk turning over Real Madrid. And then you've got Barcelona obviously cruising past. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that team name, but they cruised to a win. We're going to go on to it and we're going to choose who we think is going to win this year's Champions League. Who wants to start on this one, guys?
Oh, blimey.
Oh, don't all race. Don't all race. Start, guys.
I'll get us going.
Go on, then.
I think I'm just gonna. I'm gonna stick to my guns on this. I don't really see anyone stopping Bayern Munich going back to back this year.
Back to back. Has it ever been done apart from Real Madrid?
No, I don't think it has. I think Real were the first and only to do it. So
I'm seconding in that. I agree. I think Bayern Munich as well. I think they come.
I might have to give it a third in as well because
I do want to add that
discussion.
I think Juventus are going to push them close. That's my other.
Actually, that's the one I was going to go for, Juventus. The only problem I have with Juventus is, I'll tell you what, John. Why didn't you explain why you think Bayern Munich could?
Yeah.
I'm just sort of looking around at sort of like the teams that are in there. I'm not sure there's an English team that's going to like now, especially now with Van Dijk's injury. I think I don't see an English team being able to go the distance at the minute. I still think for whatever reason, City appear to be cursed in that competition. They have either a habit of either having absurd decisions go against them or just out and out choking. Bayern, when I look at the fact that they've lost Thiago, but if you look at other areas that they've strengthened in, this is still quite a young team that's probably not even reached its peak yet. And I think there's a lot more to come from them. So I'd be hard pushed to see anyone being able to topple Bayern this year.
Yeah.
The same for the rest of you?
Yeah, I'm sort of similar. As John says, I know they lost Thiago, but they lost Thiago, and Goretzka's also sort of come through and just seem to be taking that position by storm. Obviously, they got Kimmich in there. The one thing I do worry about them is defensively, but I think it's just a matter of if you score, we'll score more. So I can't see them being stopped. As I say, I think Juventus could push them close because they have the know-how in people like Ronaldo.
I was going to say for the opposite reason, actually. I was going to say the only reason I don't think Juventus will make it is because they don't have the know-how. Because I don't fancy Pirlo being able to win.
That's the thing. Pirlo as a manager
a
worries me. If they had an Ancelotti there or a Mourinho or someone that's been there and done it, maybe. But player-wise, they've got a lot of experience there. They've got the Chiellinis. They've got, they've got Ronaldo.
What about the French farmers? Paris Saint-Germain.
After watching the game against Man United, I just can't see it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
They are very. For me, they're very, very lax in the way that they play. They're very, very. Their body language when in the final third. Yeah, they're very relaxed, and maybe that's quite helpful. But it feels somewhat arrogant. It did feel somewhat arrogant.
I think the design is more at boardroom level than it is in the actual first 11. Like they don't seem to have a great deal of hunger when you watch them.
It doesn't look like it, does it? I mean, it could be just the style of play that they have, right? So we remember Berbatov looked like that when he played football, but he was class. But for me, I can't see Bayern Munich stepping up to do the two in a row. The two in a row is so tough to do. It really is tough to do. You can never rule out Real Madrid because Real Madrid were made for this competition. But I don't think it will be a Spanish team. I think the Spanish teams will hit too hard. I think Inter Milan could be a dark horse. I think Inter Milan could be a very, very dark horse for this competition. They've got a seriously good squad.
They've got a man in form up top, haven't they? So.
And they've got a good manager as well. Someone like Conte, he knows how to win things.
He's got
as
him
well.
playing well, hasn't he?
He has. This is tough. I mean, this could be Man City's year as well. I'm looking through the list of teams. It could also be Man City's year. They've got a better chance than any, actually. This year is better for them than any other year, maybe, let's say. I'm going to go with Juventus. Not because of their manager, but because he could be. I remember when Zidane came in, it was like he was a figurehead for a bunch of superstars. I wonder if Pirlo could also be that figurehead for these superstars. Although Cristiano Ronaldo, he's still got coronavirus, isn't he? He still hasn't come back.
Yeah, he's not going to make the
twice now.
Barca game.
Yeah, so he's tested positive twice now. So maybe let's hope he comes back in good form. But I can see I'm going to go Juventus because I just don't think Bayern Munich are. Let's say that I don't think they've got the history of, let's say, a Real Madrid to do the back-to-back. Let's say in the Champions League.
What about the Europa League?
That's wide open. Yeah, it's wide open.
I mean, to be honest, if Sevilla get knocked out of the Champions League, then we're all going to have to go with Sevilla. Unfortunately, whoever has to play them, I saw them in their game against Wolves last season. Wolves really should have knocked them out, but they just had know-how, and they've just got know-how how to win that type of competition as well. So let's hope
they just know it like the back of their hands, didn't they?
Yeah, let's just hope they're in the Champions League. When it could be anyone though. I think that's one that you have to choose come March.
Wait until the knockouts at the very least because you need to see who's coming down from the Champions League.
Yeah,
that's a fair shout.
Yeah, I think one thing that sort of you picked up on there is massive about Inter Milan is the squad. Obviously, with English sides, we've got a lot of competitions. Our league, I find, doesn't help us challenge for European sort of competitions because Schedule, obviously, I'm starting to sound like Guardiola and Klopp now, I know, but like you need a big squad, and obviously I think Inter Milan, you're right, have a massive squad. I don't really see that with Real Madrid. That would be my worry with them. I think they've got obviously Ramos is out at the moment, and they seem to be missing him. I've never really been a fan of Benzema up top, to be honest. I know he scores goals, his stats are amazing, but for me, I just don't think they've got that figurehead anymore, apart from Sergio Ramos.
Yeah. I think Real Madrid and Barcelona are actually having a very tough time. I look at those squads, and I think, meh. I don't think of anything special. And the fact that they haven't delved into the transfer market to get any quality players in, I think speaks volumes about how much they rely on the fans coming in. Obviously the league, the TV money mustn't be that important to them, right? Or it must be just enough to keep the lights going, and paying the squad salaries, etc.
That's it. And we know about Barcelona's financial history, so we won't go into too much detail. But there's going to be some cracking games next week as well, so we look forward to them. We're going to jump back to the bet now, and third pick this week is Mixer, I believe.
Yes. I'm going for a game that involves Fulham, and they're playing Palace. Mm-hmm. They aren't great at the back. I have decided, because they're so bad at the back, to go for an average player. I'm going for Zaha.
An average player in an average pond, is it?
An average player in an average pond.
Zaha.
Hang on a minute. Didn't I have him last week, though?
You did.
So are you allowed to have him after I've had him?
You're not allowed. You as an individual can't have one player twice.
Right, okay.
Well,
just checking.
2 in a row anyway.
Just checking. So have you changed your opinion on him now, yeah? He's not average anymore.
I didn't say I've changed my opinion. I think that he'll score against Fulham.
It's really harsh to call it average, though. I mean, he's capable of doing a lot. I think he scored quite. That's really harsh. Okay, go on. No, I'll leave it.
I'm sticking to my guns.
Fair enough. John, who are you going for this week?
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. They've lost their best player, so we'll go to their next best player, Sadio Mane for Liverpool.
Sheffield United have been poor this year.
John returns to form.
Oh, here he is.
Here he is.
After picking Calvert-Lewin, the top goal scorer in the league.
You know what I mean? He's not top goal scorer.
Hey, Calvert-Lewin isn't Sadio Mane, yeah? So, come on.
You know what, though? It's funny because there was actually quite a cool opportunity that came up this week. Sorry, this is going to be slightly off topic a bit, but I'll bring it back round. But I actually got offered a little bit of moonlighting for some extra money. But I wasn't able to take it, so it was the opportunity to do some dog walking for a neighbour, and I wasn't able to take up on it. But I wasn't able to do it just because of allergies and things like that. But I was then going to recommend you guys, but apparently you can't hold a lead. I had to get it in at some point.
That joke's older than us.
On that note,
a massive self-setup there. Do you see that?
See you next week.
I guess John being there with a notebook saying, just with that as a bullet point, just this is my chance.
Yeah.
This is my.
Yeah. He's been waiting for that all week.
Perhaps that has been shoehorned somewhat, but
You could have waited to the Bale segment in a minute, John.
Actually, could have done. It would have been better. It would have been more appropriate as well. So.
Yeah. How are you gonna pull that one back into your pick, by the way?
I'm not.
Fair enough. So he's gone with Sadio Mane. So what are the odds on that one then?
Yes. So we've got the fourfold accumulator up, and it pays 26.06 to 1 for £5. So it returns £135 and 30p. So Neil Maupay is 21 to 20. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is 5 to 4. Wilfried Zaha is the odds booster here, really, at 11 to 5.
There you go.
Mane is 5 to 6. So that is it's pretty short.
We still haven't gone for a game with. We still haven't won a bet without Chris Wood being chosen. Do you know what? He's playing against.
Can I
Spurs.
just say something?
Yeah, exactly.
So tempted. I was saying to Sean and John last night, I was so tempted to go for Chris Wood, just because I know Spurs are dodgy at the back. They can't. They keep conceding from set pieces. I just could not go against Spurs. I just couldn't do it.
Oh gosh,
So-
I should have done. I can do it. I don't mind.
Particularly when
Yeah.
when it is the last game, it's actually the last game of the match day as well. So
yeah, as well.
if we were actually 3 for 3 at that point, and you went into a Spurs game wanting Chris Wood to score, it'd be like, what a conflict of interest it would be.
You'd be like, guys.
Doesn't even compare.
You'd be like, guys, I'm
No.
happy for you to score. I'm happy for you to score as long as we're 3 goals up with 8 minutes to go. It's fine.
No.
We'll be able to defend that.
I'd be letting Pickford come on.
Oh, wait a
let him
minute.
take him out. Nope. Doesn't
Right.
even compare for me.
We'll move on to our final topic, and that is one that's sort of close to our hearts this year. Obviously, the return of Gareth Bale. Was all very excited about it. I know me and Mixer have spoken
Until
about
last
this.
week.
Yeah, we've spoke about this over the week, and wasn't too impressed with him last night. And to be honest, the hype that he's been given is going to be very hard to sustain them sort of performances.
Well, hang on. Let's just before we go into that, how great was it him coming onto the pitch and then just taking that free kick? I mean, how great was that moment? I mean, the free kick was awful. It was just like it just sort of trickled into the goalkeeper's arm. But you could see him
at the time. I was watching it with Sean, and I was so excited. I was like, he's not going to score, and it was just. Admittedly, if we had won the game, it was something to look fondly back on. But because we didn't win the game, it was hard to. But at the time, I was so excited to see him come on again in a Spurs shirt. It was just ridiculous.
That would have been so Roy of the Rovers though, like first touch on his second debut, you know.
Yeah,
banging one into the top corner.
You know what would have been amazing as well, though. I mean, he looked. Firstly, I guess we go back to the topic, which was he looked rusty. I mean, he looks. Yeah. He's not got that pace anymore. That's for sure. We saw that last night as well. I don't know if you watched the game last night, but he looked really quite slow. He was losing the ball a lot. I'm still going to say that it's rusty. I'm not going to say that he's lost it, because he still looks pretty fit. And,
you've got to remember, he hasn't played in 4 months. So
yeah.
If a player is coming back from an injury, hasn't played in 4 months, it's going to take him a few games to get back to normal. So I think you've got to give him a bit of the rub of the green. But I do agree, he didn't look anywhere near the player that was playing at Man United. Not Man United, Real Madrid. But I think you've got to give him some slack.
Yeah, that was my takeaway. I mean, for me, what you'll see Spurs will get out of Gareth Bale will be more moments of magic. He seems to be quite ice cold in and around the box. Like what he did. I mean, look at that. Look what he did around that to West Ham with that shimmy to the left, right. From his left foot. Well, you say that, but I mean, he was shoved off the ball as he was pulling off. That was great defending, because normally you don't get that as a penalty. So the defender knew he's going to shoot and shove him.
No, it was never a pen, but
it was good defending. He shoved him as he was pulling.
It was great defending. Yeah, he knew what he was doing, and it's what you got to do. But if he puts that away, we have a good week.
Yeah, but I mean that moment of magic, is something that just shows the class. I think we're going to see come back into his game. But he does look slow. I mean, I saw him, pick up the ball in his own third, and you're thinking, oh, is this another Inter Milan moment? Do you remember the Inter Milan moments? Is he going to pick up the ball? And he, it felt like he was running in clay. It was like, oh, maybe it won't be.
Isn't that to be expected though? Because I think he's naturally gonna need match minutes. At this level,
and that's why he played.
Walk into a team with like. When was his last real competitive sort of like league game at Real Madrid?
God knows.
Exactly. So
can't have been before July.
You can't just switch it on and off at that level. I think it's going to take minutes. He needs match minutes. Like I would actually be very surprised if he doesn't start on Monday against Burnley. I think he would at least feature for about. Again, he'll get another 20 minutes, and then he'd be starting again on the Thursday.
How are you going to get somebody match fit without just starting them to play games, right? I mean, he needs to keep playing, I guess, right? So you kind of need to play him through this form.
There is an argument that does he deserve to start?
I don't think so.
Burnley.
Not with Lamella.
Does he deserve to? No, I don't think he does.
No, Lamella and Bergman don't deserve to be dropped, huh?
No,
I think it depends on what your longer term plan is. If you think that he's gonna, in 3 or 4 matches in time, is he gonna be better than both of them? I'd probably say yeah.
You've got to win the game, and then if you've got, I was going to say if you've won the game with 10 minutes left, but I didn't want to say that. If you think you've won the game, do you know what I mean? Like,
I think the fact that both your digs about that have been better than my one, and my one was pre-planned.
I'm trying not to, but obviously it happened. Let's not sugarcoat it. You shouldn't be losing a game from there. So you've got to, with 20 minutes left, 3-0 up, you bring on the player to give him minutes. I listened to someone in the week say how it was disrespectful to West Ham to bring him on, and I thought it was absolute rubbish.
That's what you do. I heard that as well.
That's what you do that's what you do, regardless who you're playing, if you're playing West Ham or one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
And he was always going to play. He was always going to put place.
He was always
anyway.
100%. Yeah.
He was always going to come on.
Yeah, I think the argument is more like, I know we're talking a lot about his physical state, but the signing, I think, was probably more of a signing for the dressing room mentally. He's a winner. He's gone to Real Madrid. He's won the biggest competitions. So that's going to help.
So that's why we signed Joe Hart.
Well, yeah, he's done it as well. He's been there and done it, but that's going to be good. Like always, the term that keeps coming up is Spursy. We get to semi-finals and finals, and we can't get over the line. And
or the 82nd minute.
Yeah, or the 82nd minute, and that could be. There could be players that can turn around to the Harry Kanes that always faltered at semi-finals and finals and say, like, no, this is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. So
yeah,
that could be probably more what he's given to the side, because at the moment, I know it's only been, 70, 80 minutes we've seen him play. Physically, he definitely doesn't look the same, Gareth Bale, but it's far too early. I know it's far too early to call that.
I completely agree with Sean as well. I think that he's been brought in as it's to do with mindset and culture of the club. And it is. I think it's Mourinho looking at it and going, we need winners, proven winners. Yeah. And that can bleed through the squad at that stage. So, it would be nice to see you guys win something. I've always said that anyway. I mean, I'm sort of a bit soft like that. So,
well, I think it comes down to, it comes down to in that front three. I guess it comes down to what type of role and how is he going to interact with the other players in that front three, I guess. So if you're looking at, for example, you've got someone like Son that can actually do the length of the pitch, what Gareth used to do. But, for me, he adds something that Lamela will never be able to add. I mean, I saw Lamela last night. He had chances to score a goal. If Bale were in those positions, definitely goals, right? So he'll have that killer instinct. He will be, Gareth Bale with 5 games under his belt will be a player that Lamela couldn't even dream about. And I think that's where you need to start building.
Bale's a confidence player. If he scores 1 goal, he'll.
Yeah.
You think he'll be all right? If he scores a winning goal, let's say, he'll be fine.
So you need to play him, right? You need to play him until that happens. Play him into fit.
I don't see the point of playing players that aren't winning games for us. I disagree.
Well, because if you're probably thinking about, okay, out of the 38 games I've got to play, I need an informed Bale. So I'm going to try and win these games in the next, I don't know, five games, play him into form. And all of a sudden, I've got an informed Kane, informed Son, and informed Bale. Honestly, it doesn't matter if I've got, an out of form Toby Alderweireld and an out of form Sanchez at the back. They'll score the goals that I'll need them to. An informed Bale would probably, have scored that 4th goal and killed the game.
I completely agree. But the thing is, he wasn't in form.
And so how are you going to get him into form?
Well, he's got to put in good performances to stay playing. If you're not playing well, why should you play?
But you need to. But I don't know. I think the argument really is that he needs to play in order to get up to that level.
That's my point.
But then he doesn't deserve to start because I want to play players that are performing well.
I think when you've got the volume of fixtures that you guys have, though, he is inevitably going to start some games.
So if Lamela plays 60 minutes a game, wins us the game, and then Bale comes on half an hour, doesn't play well, but you want to give Bale minutes so he starts the next game. That's not fair on Lamela. That's wrong.
Lamela isn't doing that. That's the point.
I'm saying if.
Yeah, but he's not. I mean, if you're going to say to me we're going to take off Son, we're going to play Son to bring on.
So okay, your front three against Burnley, who would you play?
But I think that's the thing. It depends on the team you're playing. So against West
That's
Ham,
fair.
West Ham was playing a very high line. So Kane was dropping in, and Bergvin and Son were on the shoulder of the centre backs. So you needed two quick players.
That felt like a diamond, actually. That seemed to like a diamond midfield, didn't it?
So you needed two quick players going in behind, and Bell, we know, hasn't got, well, not yet anyway, hasn't got that speed. So you obviously played Bergvin in that game. I think against Burnley, you need a Lamella in there to be creative. Sort of, Lamella's not static in his position. He won't stay wide right. He won't stay wide left. He'll pick up in them little holes that Burnley might leave for you, like I know I'm going to come back to him again, but Christian Eriksen used to pick up them little holes.
Yeah,
very good players, and like one-touch football to that killer pass. Obviously, Lo Celso being back is going to be a help as well, but it sort of depends on your position, if you know what I mean. I think Bale will start games because, as John says, our fixtures are going to be piling up. But I think you've got to look at the opposition and then sort of pick your front three. But I think Son and Kane are there every week, so there's only one position really,
I think, yeah, exactly. It's only one position, and I think that one's up for grabs. And I would rather play somebody like Bale into form rather than having what Lamella is at. Lamella's had 7 years to show what he could be doing, and he's really shown that this is probably the best that we can get out of him. Right at the moment, he's playing the best football he's ever played. And that's really not that great.
I mean, obviously, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't agree, but there you go.
On that note, we're going to end this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be back next week with, how much was it again? £135.30 in our pockets, and we'll be a lot happier for it. So cheers, guys, and I'll speak to you again next week.
Yeah, take care, gents.
See you later.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye bye.